Look at verse 22. Look at verse 22. We're all decaying. Verse 22, this is my favorite, this is my important part. We know that the whole creation has been groaning. Everybody say groaning. What's been groaning? The church? No, creation has been groaning. That's the earth. Okay? We know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth. Okay, we've seen that before. Right up to the present time. This was written in like 70 AD. They saw the groaning of the earth in 70 AD. It's groaning up to that present time. Now we're 2,000 years hence, 70 AD. Do you see the earth groaning? Groaning. The word groaning comes from the Greek word that denotes a unified groaning. A unified groaning. That means the earth is groaning from all parts. All these unified parts are groaning. And those sources include, but are not limited to, cataclysmic upheavals, such as earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic activity, frequencies of tornadoes and hurricanes. This is a sign of the end times. The earth is groaning, and it's groaning with visible climactic events. Nature, we're seeing it in nature. Jesus called it pangs of birth. I always thought that was a wrong word. I always thought we were mispronouncing pangs. It should be pains, P-A-I-N-S, but no. There's a word called pangs. Have you ever had pangs? Raise your hand. Ken, you have not had pangs. He's the first man ever to have birth pangs. Pangs are childbirth, right? And they're painful, are they? Well, I know because I felt the secondary effects of childbirth when I was holding my wife's hand as she was having pangs. I had one job in childbirth, that was to count to 10. She would take a deep breath and push, and I'd say, 1, 2, 4. One time I miscount, and she squeezed my hand and she yelled at me. I thought it was the devil coming out of her. I'd never seen my wife. I've never seen her talk like that before. It's like, my goodness, I got one job to do, keep the number straight. I was going 1, 2, 6, 4, 5, she yelled at me. Contractions come, ladies, you know. They come, they start out slowly and not too painful. And then they get more intense, don't they, as they come, and more often, sooner and sooner, and more intense until the birth, and then there's a lot of pain, right? I pretty much got it, right? That's as far as I want to go on the birthing thing. So in the end times, the world is going to start having birth pangs, and they're going to get harder and stronger and more frequent until the birth, when Jesus comes back and the great tribulation begins. So Jesus mentioned the earth groaning too. Write this down, Matthew 24:1. Turn there in your Bibles. Let's look at this. Jesus left the temple and was walking away when his disciples came up to him to call his attention to the buildings. They were very impressive buildings. The tabernacle was very impressive. Jesus said, "Do you see all these things? Truly I tell you, not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down." That was a prophecy that actually came true in 70 AD, like many years after Jesus had died. Not one stone of the temple. There was a great cataclysmic fire in Jerusalem, and the gold of the dome of the temple, real gold, was melted by the fire, and the gold melted down all the rocks. And people were getting at the gold, so they broke open all the rocks, and one rock was ripped off another rock, and not one stone was left on each other because they were trying to get the gold out. Isn't that amazing? And so Jerusalem was surrounded by the Roman army. It's burning down, and then later on, there was a rumor amongst the Roman troops. This is gross. I probably shouldn't even tell you this. But since I've already started it, and you've probably heard a lot worse, there was a rumor going around that the Jews were escaping out of Jerusalem. The Romans were surrounding the city, that they were escaping out of the city, and the Jews were swallowing gold, and it was in their stomachs. So the Romans, when they caught a Jew at night escaping the city, they'd cut their stomach open to get the gold out.